Architectural Artcast.
David Lynch's Dune is a polarizing movie. There's no middle ground. You either love it or you hate it. You get past the flaws, though, there's a real gem in there. But that's the catch. You got to get past the flaws because there's some real doozies. I unashamedly loved this movie. One of the reasons is because back in the 90s, one of the cable channels used to do a Dune 24-hour marathon every so often. My buddies Moose, Steve, and I, yes, I had a buddy named Moose, and yes, he looks like what you think a moose would look like. We'd go and get burgers, brats, all the fixings, and whatever adult beverage we preferred, and spend the day barbecuing with Dune playing in the background. Around 7 o'clock, whenever they restarted the movie from the beginning, we would gather around the TV with our food and drinks, and for the next several hours, we would roast the hell out of the movie. The highlight was always when Sting got Muad'Dib's dagger right through his throat. You'd see cheering and high-fiving, and we had the rule you had to down whatever you were drinking. Yeah, it's a good idea to embezzle money from a charity, you worthless piece of shit. And then we couldn't wait to do it all over again the next time they ran another marathon. People used to ask us, why do you subject yourselves to that? Because we genuinely enjoyed the movie. You can love something and at the same time recognize it has flaws. In our case, those flaws became part of the entertainment. Some of Patrick Stewart's lines, they're so bad, they fly right by cringeworthy and land smack dab in the middle of comedy gold. This is the point in the video where I usually insert footage from the trailer as I describe the plot. But what I could find online was so grainy, blurry, and low resolution, it was making me motion sick. Didn't want to subject y'all to that. So this time around, y'all are stuck with my ugly mug. On to the story. It is way, way, way into the future. Humanity has long left Earth and has colonized the universe. In the early days, they relied heavily on technology and advanced AI. But at some point, they lost control of the AI and a war broke out. This war was so horrific that the majority of humans were killed. They managed to win the war, but they were so terrified of AI and advanced technology that they forbid any type of technology except for the most basic and fundamental computers. Society has fragmented into a Byzantine feudalistic system of competing factions. You have the emperor and the nobility, fighting over resources and power, ever jealous of their social positions and willing to stab each other in the back at a moment's notice. There are the Bene Gesserit, a female organization that has used drugs and genetics and a thousands-year-old breeding program in an effort to create the perfect human being. There are the Mentats, a male organization that uses training and drugs to push the human mind to its limits. They're capable of making thousands of calculations a second. They're also known as human computers. And then we have the Navigators. They've used drugs to evolve into a completely different species. They're capable of bending space and time. They can move large objects, like a spaceship, from one point in the universe to another point instantaneously. Do you notice a commonality with all these groups? Drugs. Well, actuality, it's one drug. Come to find out, they're all using the same drug to try to achieve different ends. There's a big catch, though. This drug can only be found in one place in all of the universe, Arrakis, also known as the desert planet of Dune. The emperors have maintained their power because they control the greatest warriors in all of the universe, the feared Shatterstar terror troops. The current emperor is worried that House Harkonnen and House Atreides are becoming too powerful, becoming a threat to him. So he hatches a plan to play one off against the other. The emperor decides he will give Dune and the responsibility of mining spice, the drug that everyone needs, to House Atreides. But at a key moment, he'll turn a blind eye, allowing House Harkonnen a sneak attack. In the ensuing fight, the two houses will weaken each other so much they will no longer be a threat to him. Duke Atreides is nobody's fool. He recognizes a trap when he sees one. He's more than prepared for anything Baron Harkonnen might pull. But what he doesn't realize, the Emperor is far more afraid of him than he is the Baron Harkonnen. The Emperor has given the Baron some of his Shadowcar terror troops. When these combined forces attack, Duke Atreides is blindsided. He's killed, and his wife and teenage son, Paul Atreides, are forced to flee out into the desert, where they're taken in by the Fremen, the natives of Dune. The Fremen are seen as little more than vermin. Their labor to be exploited when necessary, otherwise to be killed out of hand. But people don't realize the Fremen are hiding two secrets. One, there's a lot more of them out there in the desert than anybody realizes. And two, they have a prophecy that a leader will come from off-planet. Guess who fits the bill? Young Paul Atreides. Paul Atreides, now known as Muad'Dib, leads the Fremen in an uprising. They take control of Dune. They force all the squabbling factions to unite, hot-footed straight over to Dune. You don't threaten to take control of the one resource that every powerful faction in the universe desperately needs. The Emperor is going to wipe out all life on Arrakis. The Emperor and gang have a major problem, though. Muad'Dib knows the secret of spice. He knows its origin, and more importantly, he knows how to destroy it. It's the ultimate Atlas Shrugged moment. Muad'Dib and the Fremen bend the universe to their will. They force all the factions to back off. They force the Emperor to abdicate. And then they crown Muad'Dib the new Emperor. Like all good science fiction, Dune is dealing with some pretty heavy ideas. One of them that I find particularly interesting is how the honorable win and the snakes get destroyed. Oh, come on, Randy. Everybody knows that doesn't happen in the real world. If you're going to be a leader, you got to be practical, pragmatic, willing to get your hands dirty, do what you need to do. That honor stuff, that just gets in the way, makes you weak and vulnerable. You think so? I would argue Frank Herbert knew his Machiavelli pretty well. Everybody knows the part in Machiavelli's The Prince where he says, if you're going to rule, you have to be willing to lie, cheat, steal, backstab, manipulate, deceive, murder, assassinate, whatever it takes to maintain power. What people conveniently forget is the beginning and the end. The beginning, he says, don't do this, but if you have to, here's what you do. And he concludes with, but don't do that. He gives a lot of reasons. The one I want to focus on that's relevant for this conversation is where he says, never mess with an honorable man. They're far too dangerous. They're capable of ruthlessness on a scale you can't even imagine. Sounds counterintuitive, right? Let me give you two examples. In East Asia, they have the concept of a Zen warrior in a garden. Why were these warriors so feared? It's because they value peace and tranquility above all else. They will become incredibly ruthless and eliminate whatever violates that peace and tranquility in as quick and efficient manner as possible, so they can return back to a peaceful and tranquil state. Those from a Christian background should be familiar with the concepts of righteous indignation and righteous rage. Things you don't want to mess with. Why is the Emperor more afraid of Duke Atreides than he is Baron Harkonnen? He and the Baron are both schemers. They're willing to use whatever tactic, however low and immoral, to accomplish their goals. They're playing the same game by the same rules. A game that the Emperor feels like he's better at and has the better position. They also have no incentive to end the game anytime soon. Both of them are profiting off of the chaos and misery they're creating. In the Baron's case, He actually enjoys profiting off of others' suffering. As far as Duke Atreides, if it ever came to open conflict between him and the Emperor, he'd go for the throat. He'd try to end things as quickly and efficiently as possible. He's playing a very different game than the Emperor, a game that the Emperor doesn't even completely understand. That's the same game that Paul Atreides, Muad'Dib, plays with the Emperor. And Paul beat him so badly that he ended up taking the Emperor's job. If you all have the time, I recommend the 5-hour plus version. It'll make a lot more sense, especially if you haven't read the book. Whichever version you end up watching, watch it with friends. You'll have a lot more fun. I know I always did. At any rate, I hope I've given you all something to think about, and until next time, you all be safe. If you've made it this far, what's wrong with you? But seriously, clearly you don't mind listening to me yammer on about something, so why don't you like the video and subscribe to the channel? Click the notification so you'll know the next time I'm yammering on about something else.
Please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment.